What's up guys, Syiler here, and I am back with another mount guide, this time showing you how to get the Kor'kron Juggernaut mount. That is the mount I'm on right now. It's the metal scorpion with the drill and the saw. It looks pretty damn cool. And this comes from Mythic Siege of Orgrimmar. It drops from the last boss, which is Garrosh Hellscream, and it is on a 1% drop chance. Now it used to be on 100% back in Mr. Pandaria when it was current content, but as it is no longer current, it has been nerfed down to a 1% drop. So you will need to do it, hopefully, once, but you may be in there a few times to actually get it. So we're going to head to the Veil of the Eternal Blossom, and we're going to head to this kind of like hidden chamber underneath. We're going to make sure we are on Mythic raid difficulty, as the mount will not drop on normal or heroic. Raid size doesn't matter because Mythic is always 20 man. So do make sure you are on raid difficulty Mythic, and then head inside. All of this trash on the way to the first boss can be skipped. It's up to you if you want to kill it or not. If you pull it, you can kill it. It doesn't really matter. And this is going to be a semi-difficult solo for a 110 player. As long as you have around 8 ATI level, you should be able to do this. But it will be a little bit difficult. You will need to pay attention to things and, you know, not think it's going to be a complete cakewalk. So the first boss up is Immerseus, and basically the aim of the game is to DPS the boss down until it hits 0 HP, and then it will split up into oozes, and you will either heal the oozes if you're a class that can heal them, or DPS them if you only have DPS. And every time you kill or heal an ooze, he's gonna like lose permanent HP, and the goal is to get him down to 25% HP. Once he hits 25%, then the fight will end and you've basically won. So this is going to take you some time. It took like 7 minutes or something for me to finish this fight. I think it's a little bit easier if you're able to heal them, but as I'm Hunter on this, I'm not able to heal any of them, so it is quite slow. But just make use of movement spells just to get you around the room, range abilities, things like that, just so you can kill off as many oozes as possible. For example, I'm putting down traps, I'm making use of harpoon, I'm basically doing whatever I can to get around the room and kill as many off as possible. Eventually you'll get all that you need and the boss will end, and then that'll be the fight done. In terms of difficulty, it isn't just don't stand in like the puddles and just kill the oozes. Like the fight itself is pretty low damage output for a 110, so you shouldn't have any issues living. It might start to hurt a little if you do hit the enrage, but even then it shouldn't be that big of an issue. But just kill the oozes and you should do it roughly around the enrage anyway. The next boss, luckily there's no trash, is going to be the Golden Lotus, and basically every time you get these guys down 33% HP, then they're going to split into like a phase 2 type thing, and each of them has their own unique HP pool, and the goal of the fight is to kill all 3 of them at the same time. If you kill one early, it'll start to like do a cast. Once the cast is finished, it will heal. So you do want to try and get them all down at the same time, you know, do AoE, cleave or whatever, and whenever they split into their phase 2, just deal with their phase 2 ad and then they'll come back. And just rinse and repeat that, so you can see that guy just split into 3 different mobs. I'm going to run around the room and kill his 3 different kind of embodiments. And just keep repeating that basically, just kill the ads that they summon when they do split up. And then once they do get to sub 33%, they've done their final kind of phase 2, then just slowly DPS them down and make sure all 3 die at the same time. Once you've done that, they'll all die and the fight will end. It's pretty simple, once again not really too high damage output. There is one of them that will summon one ad that kind of fixates on you and it will do damage increasing over time. So I would prioritize killing that guy first, as if you leave it alive too long, it will start to tickle. So I would definitely recommend getting that guy down. So we're going to head down here towards the mines and we're going to kill this mini boss. Nothing too special with this guy, he's just literally, he does like a frontal cleave, which does hurt a little bit, but it was meant to be soaked, I believe. And by multiple people, but it doesn't really matter, it's whatever. So we're going to run through the mines and we're going to head to the next boss, which is Nurashen. Now this fight will take quite some time because the old goal of it was you would lose corruption and you would start to do more damage. But as we are on our own, we can't do that. So it is going to be quite a long fight, although even then it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So you're going to wait for the RP to finish, and eventually you'll be able to talk to Nurashen and you'll be able to start the encounter. Eventually. Good old RP, slowing it down. This run in general is going to take you quite a long time each week. That's why I've kind of put it into its own video instead of including it in the solo raid guides video, because you're going to see this video alone is like 30 minutes, even with me speeding up the footage quite a bit. So yeah, expect the runs to take you about 50 minutes, an hour, depending on your gear each week. So it is quite a commitment just for the mount, but it is quite a cool mount, so I'd say it's worth it. So eventually the boss will spawn, and basically you just need to kill down this amalgamation of corruption. As I mentioned, you can see your corruption bar in the center, and that reduces the damage you can deal. So if you get it to 0, you'll deal more damage, but the only way you can reduce it down is by clicking the golden orbs around the room, and if you click any of those when you're on your own, then the boss will despawn because there's no one for the boss to fight. Now if you're hit with a friend, then one of you can go clear your corruption, you go in there, you kill the mobs in the kind of orb room, and then you'll come back and you'll have low corruption, you'll be able to do a lot more damage to the boss, making the fight a lot quicker. But if there are 2 of you here as well, the fight should be pretty damn quick anyway. But if you are on your own, do not click the orb as it will reset the fight. I would not recommend doing that. So once the boss is dead, it does do kind of like a cutter, like a beam that goes around the room. Just run away from it, you don't want to take unnecessary damage. We'll move into the next room, which is the Shower of Pride, and you need to kill all of these little ads. They're a little bit annoying for 110 because they don't aggro onto you properly, so just kind of slowly run around the room, AoEing them down, and get them all dealt with. There's not really an easy way to pick them all up, unfortunately. Not that I've seen anyway. So just run around, pick them all off, and then once they're all dead, we'll spawn the boss. So it's pretty damn important that we do actually kill them all. We'll get there eventually. A few more left. Okay, last couple. There we go. So they're all dead, and the Shower of Pride is about to spawn. So this is a little bit of a DPS race, as there's a few mechanics on this fight that you can handle as a solo player. So I would recommend using as much damage as you can. You know, use your cooldowns here, use your bloodlust, whatever it is you can do, just to kill the fight before he does one of his phases. Because if he does, you're going to either be put in a prison, which you can't escape from on your own, or he'll do like the Pac-Man room. I can't remember which one comes first, but either way you can't handle those mechanics alone. So yeah, I would recommend, or definitely you need to do as much damage as you can to kill it before any of those things happen. Now a decent geared 110 should have no problem doing that. As I said, like 880 should be more than enough. If you've got like a pet you can use for bloodlust and stuff, great, do that, but just make sure you can put out as much damage as possible. And then we're going to wait for the RP to take on. Once that happens, a portal spawn taking us to Orgrimmar. Speak to your faction guy, and then eventually it will summon a portal again, and that will take us to the docks. So from here our goal is to kill all of the cannons. So you want to kill the mobs in front of the cannons and then use the kind of landmines to blow it up, unless you do what I do and accidentally hit the cannon and then you're in combat with it. And then that will blow up the cannon, and you want to rinse and repeat that for all of the cannons along the docks. It will take a little bit of time, but not too long. There is one that I just missed as well, it's to my right. I would recommend picking that up sooner rather than later, although you have to head back that way anyway, so it isn't that big of a deal, but just in case you're wondering where the other one is that I miss, it is going to be back along the docks. And here I put down my caltrops, and yeah, they permanently try and hit the cannon, which is immune. Good times. So we've got 6 of 7 done. We need one more cannon now, which is the one that I missed earlier on. We're going to finish this one off. And there we go. We have all the cannons done. Oh, okay, Pat is hitting the cannon once again. And then once all the cannons are done, your faction guy will slowly come along, and then they'll all appear on the docks, and you'll be able to start the Galakraz fight. Now I think I make a mistake in this fight, which I'll explain in a moment, but I think you can do it a bit quicker than I actually do it. I just didn't think of it at the time, so you'll see what I mean in a moment anyway. So we're going to start the fight, and basically the goal of the fight is to unlock the towers and then shoot down the boss. You're going to have waves of ads spawning in the center that you'll need to deal with because you can't let your faction leader die. And then you'll also have goblins on the towers trying to like unlock the door, and they're going to get attacked as well, which I leave mine quite low. Not intentionally, I just forgot about them. So you will want to save them as well. You'll see if you have DBM, you'll see a timer for the tower grunt, and that is going to be the guy that runs up and hits your guys doing the tower. So you do want to try and protect them as much as possible, because if they die, I think you also fail as well. So try and keep those guys alive, as them dying is not a good time. As you can see, I finally spot the grunts going ham, and then I'm like, oh, that's not good. So I kill them off, and then it'll leave my goblins to make more progress on the tower as well. It does get slowed down if they're being beat on. So you want to kind of do a back and forth of clearing the mobs in the center, running up, saving you guys being hit at the tower, and rinse and repeat that process. Nothing really too special you need to know about these mobs that kind of spawn in the center. They all don't really do too much. If one of them summons a banner, I would recommend prioritizing the banner because it'll make everything else easier to kill. But outside of that, there's nothing really too special going on. Now, we're getting close to the part where I think I make a mistake. Basically, to do this fight previously, back in Mr. Pandaria, you would have to unlock both of the towers, and then 2 people would need to be in each of the guns to shoot down Galakraz. Now they've changed that slightly, only 1 gun is needed now, but I had it in my head that you still needed to unlock the 2nd tower to actually shoot down Galakraz. That might not be the case. You might be able to do it with just 1 tower, so it is definitely worth trying. Basically shoot down Galakraz, and then shoot it again as soon as it's off cooldown. So you'll stun Galakraz, and then the second your one ability comes off cooldown again, try and shoot it again. And then if you are able to do it with the first tower, then Galakraz will basically drop down and you'll be able to fight it. If that doesn't work, then you do still need to clear the 2nd tower. I'm not too sure on if you do or not. But for the sake of this video, we're going to assume that you do need the 2nd tower. As I said, do definitely try the first one, as it will save you quite a bit of time, and you're up there anyway, so you might as well give it a go. So we're going to clear out the 2nd tower, and it's basically a rinse and repeat of the first one. We clear the mobs in the center, we protect our goblins on the right side this time, or if you're Alliance, there'll be gnomes, you know, just in case. And eventually they'll unlock the tower, and we'll be able to head up. So we're getting close now. You can see the timer in the middle of the screen. The tower is unlocked, so we're going to run up this. We're going to kill all the mobs here, and then we're going to be able to shoot down Galakraz. And as I said, you do that by aiming at it. You shoot once, as long as you don't miss. You shoot once, you'll stun it, and then what you need to do is, I failed because the dragons were in the way, but you shoot once, you stun it, and then the second the ability comes off cooldown again, you need to shoot it again straight after. And that will count as the 2 hits that are needed to get it out of the air. And previously, back in Mr. Pandaria, the timer, the stun duration on Galakraz was a lot shorter, so you and your other cannon person would have to shoot very, very close to each other, so left would shoot and then right would shoot straight away. But they've changed it to make it more solo friendly, which is great. So Galakraz will drop down. I cleared out all the ads first, Galakraz jumps down, and then you just kill it. There's nothing really too special going on there. So next up, we're going to head to the next boss, which is the Iron Juggernaut, and it looks very similar to the mount that you're going to be hoping to get from this run. Now, I do underestimate Iron Juggernaut, and I do end up dying, but I'll kind of tell you how to avoid that in a moment. So on my first attempt, I do end up dying, but I die just because I underestimate the damage it can put out. I just stand there and I eat every single one of those red circles, and they were chipping me away pretty hard. This is another fight where I'd definitely recommend using cooldowns as well, as it's going to start doing a stacking debuff to you. There's a lot of kind of damage going on. So, you know, using Bloodlust, using potions, using your DPS cooldowns, whatever you can to put out as much damage as possible is something I would definitely recommend. But if you have some good self-healing, then it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But with Survival Hunter, the only thing I really have is my exhilaration, so I don't really have great self-healing outside of that. But yeah, if you have decent self-healing, the DPS race shouldn't be that bad, but if you don't, then yeah, definitely make use of as many cooldowns as possible. So next up we have the Dark Shamans, and you don't need to clear all of the trash here, you can just clear the ones that are kind of in the way. But we're going to head into where the War Chief room is. And then inside here we're going to find the 2 bosses. Now you can pull them out if you want, it does give you a little bit more space and it'll make things less hectic, you'll take less damage, but I'm not that concerned. I do slowly kite them out of the room, but basically the goal is to just cleave them down. They both share a HP pool. Previously you wouldn't want to cleave them down, you wouldn't want to have them close to each other, but as we're doing it solo and we're 110, we can just have them on top of each other, we can cleave them down, and it's not a problem whatsoever. They will summon these ads, they will put down like the tombs and things like that, but none of these mechanics are really too dangerous. You just basically want to be progressively kiting out at the things that hurt. As you can see is exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to keep up my dots on both of them, and I'm just doing some cleave damage. And then eventually they'll both fall. Especially if you're like a multi-dotter class or something along those lines, that fight should be pretty damn easy for you if you can get really good spread damage. But outside of that, just move out of the ouchy things, you know, kite them back, and you should have no problem at all. Head up here, you can release Gammon if you want the achievement, but I don't want to because you have to clear extra trash. You have to clear all of this area if you want to save Gammon. So we're not going to bother with that, we're just going to skip all of this, jump down, and head down to the Ragefire Chasm. We're going to kill the trash along the way, as it's pretty annoying. And this Shaman trash, I would recommend trying to kill them off one by one as quickly as possible, as they will all heal each other, and it's a little bit annoying, so get those guys killed. We can ignore the spinny guys for now if you want, but they aggro later on, which wastes me a little bit of time. And we're going to pull Nazgrim. Now Nazgrim has a couple of different weapons, and when he's got his two-hander out, he takes more damage, or at least doesn't have damage reduction. So that's where you want to be using your DPS cooldowns and try and kill him quicker. He will put down a Ravager, he will summon some ads, but none of those mechanics are really that dangerous. You just want to kill him as quickly as possible, especially during his phase where he's going to be taking a little bit more damage. And yeah, you'll get him down, no problem at all. Then we'll head down the elevator, we'll clear out the right side, we don't need to kill the full room once again. Basically just need to kill anything that gets in our way. And a bit of a warning, the next fight caused my FPS to drop crazy low. I assume it was because of DBM, I get kind of like a pie chart in the middle of my screen. But yeah, it's not particularly good. So do be warned, there's going to be some low FPS in a moment. It's not your video, it's not my video, it was just the footage went a bit wonky when we got to this point. So he's going to consistently do this kind of smash, you just need to move out of that. And he's going to keep knocking you up. I believe that's because we're the only tank, like the only person he can hit, but either way it's not really going to do that much. I mean, I make use of Harpoon to get back down to the ground. If you have anything that can reduce fall damage, I'd recommend using it, because you will slowly get chunked down by the fall damage. I'd say the fall damage in that part of the fight is like the scariest thing that happens, and I wasn't entirely sure on how to prevent it. I don't think you can, as you're kind of doing it alone. But maybe there is, maybe I'm a noob. But this is meant to be your guide. So if you've got anything to reduce fall damage or whatever, that's fine. But there's not anything I could tell that you could move out of to prevent the knock-up. So I think it just happens naturally. I do end up still in combat with the cannons, so I do go back to kill those. I would recommend killing them off just so you're not perpetually in combat. But you don't have to. I mean, there's nothing we really need to mount up for or anything along those lines. So you don't really need to get out of combat. I just don't like being in combat. So we're going to kill all these off, and then we're going to head to the right side, which is going to take us to the Treasures of Pandaria. And here we're going to find the Storeroom Grunt, kill him off. And then we're going to activate the chest behind him with the password General Nazgrim and for the War Chief. And then we've got this fight. This fight is a little, I guess, annoying. It's a bit long. You have to basically clear all 4 sections on your own, which takes some time. And basically every time you kill one of these mobs, you're going to get points onto the bar. The bigger the chest, the more points you're going to get. So you do want to be prioritizing the bigger chests to start out with. I end up taking the wrong route, and I go the kind of long way around. All the big chests are on the left side. And I end up going kind of like counterclockwise. I should have gone clockwise. But we get there eventually, and you'll see this guy's going to give a good chunk onto the bar. There you go. So I should have been killing the big ones off first. It's going to save me a lot more time. But either way, isn't really going to make that much difference. You should still have plenty of time. It is a race against the time as well. You can see the timer in the top. And that is the timer to get both sides unlocked. So we have to do that side, and we run over to the adjacent side. Actually, not adjacent, diagonal? Either way, head over there, and we're going to clear that side out as well. And you have to do that before the timer expires. So this time we're prioritizing the bigger chest first, just to get those big juicy points. And then once we've done that, we can click the lever, and then that will stop the timer, at least for phase 1. Then we're going to move into the next room, the timer will reset, and we basically have to rinse and repeat. So we're going to click all the boxes, fill the bar, click the lever, and then head to the other room that we haven't cleared yet. And then once all 4 rooms are done, as long as we've done it within the timer, then the fight will end and we're good to go. Cleave spells are definitely good here, you know, click multiple boxes at once because they do take a few seconds to kind of activate, and then just cleave them down, I'd say is the better way to approach this. They don't really do any crazy mechanics or anything like that, they're basically just waves and waves of trash. Like obviously the bigger mobs hurt a little bit more, and they have like a mechanic or two, but none of the mechanics are particularly dangerous, so you can just kind of, you know, AoE them down, clear them on top of everything else. And there we go, we've done that. We can head up, we can get our rewards from the chest eventually, and then we're going to head to Thok. So we're going to head the door on the opposite end of the room, not the one that we entered, but the one on the opposite end will have opened now, and that will take us down to Thok's room. And this is going to be the big dinosaur. So one thing to note, if you are a if you're a hunter and you switch to BM spec, you can actually tame this pet. I end up doing it in this video. I do take him low just to show you how to kill him, but then I feign death and stop the recording, tame him, and move on. It will count as the boss has been killed if you do tame him, so that's fine. It's not going to kind of kill off your run. But in terms of the actual fight as a non-hunter, if you don't want to tame him, it's literally just a bit of a DPS race. There's nothing really special going on. He won't do the chase because we're on our own, so he's literally just going to beat on us, do the stacking debuff that will make us take more damage from the shriek, and then yeah, we just have to kill him before the damage is too high. But I mean, I have like 5 stacks now, he's nearly dead, and he's doing maybe 5% of my HP bar, if that, with each one. So it really isn't that high damage. You shouldn't struggle with the damage output from this whatsoever. So there you go, it gets low, and then I feign death because I do actually want to tame him. So that boss is dead, and then we're going to move on to the next one, which is Black Fuse. So we're going to head in a straight line all the way back through the Treasures of Pandaria room. Going to skip past the chest, and then we're going to head through the door that we can see right at the end. And that will take us to Black Fuse's room. There will be some waves of trash that we have to kill, and there's also a cutscene, so get ready to press that escape key just to skip it by. There we go. Skip that and then start the waves of trash. So you're just going to kill these off, and every time you kill one set, a new set will spawn, and then eventually you'll be done with all of these. Does take a bit of time, but once again, nothing too crazy. I mean, the mines, that one I jumped into, it did like 200 damage, so there's nothing too dangerous or scary on this trash whatsoever. So we're done with all of that, so we're going to jump down now, and we can start the Black Fuse fight. Another fight where there's nothing in particular we need to worry about. You won't need to worry with the treadmill or the conveyor belt that you had to do. It's literally just going to be a case of move out the soul blades, kite him around a little bit, and kill him off. He's quite squishy, dies pretty damn quick, so once again this should be a pretty easy fight. You should kill him before any of the real mechanics start, and even if you don't, then actually it is a bit of a problem if the siege engine gets there, as it will make him take reduced damage, so it is a bit of a DPS race, I guess. You do want to kill him before that happens, so I guess pop cooldowns, do whatever you can to get him down as quickly as possible, but he's pretty squishy, he dies pretty quick anyway, so you shouldn't have too much issue with that. If it does end up spawning the siege engine, I guess you could use a pet or something to move it away, like use your pet to taunt it and move it off to the side or something. It just needs to be away from the boss, but outside of that it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Now for your alliance, you'll have to kill that hallway of trash, but because we're Horde we get to skip it. And then we're going to clear out this room, and once all of this is dead we can click the crystal in the middle. So there are a few mechanics on this fight that can actually get you killed. First of all, we're going to have these guys. The Bloodseeker is one that I would kill first or second, just because he summons these like bloods that will heal, and it just makes things a little bit slower, so I would get him out of the way first or second. And the gun guy, he's a little bit annoying, but he isn't that big of an issue. So I kill off the Prime next because he does do that, like in case, or at least I tried to, and then he encased himself, and I kind of leave him alive a little bit too long, and he is encased back up again, which is annoying. So we move on to the poisoned mind instead, and then we kill off the Prime the next time round. But getting the Prime out of the way sooner rather than later is nice because it just saves you a bit of time. And then the Manipulator. This guy, as soon as he's alive, you want to be able to kill him because he's going to summon these bugs around the room, and then he'll make you walk towards them, and if you reach them, you die. There's no real way to get out of that. You can make your pet hit the one that you're being pulled to, and it will block it as long as it takes enough damage. But the easier way to deal with that is just to kill him off before you get mind controlled. So prioritize him down. As long as the Prime's not alive still, you shouldn't really be delayed in killing him too much, but I do mess up. And you can see how much extra time I had to kill him before I did the mind control anyway. But yeah, definitely try and get the Prime out of the way before he's spawned, and then you should be able to kill him off no problem before he does anything too spooky. And then everyone else doesn't really do anything too dangerous, really. Then we head down to the final boss, which is going to be Garrosh Hellscream. And here we're going to see the final fight. It's going to be quite a bit of RP once again. We've got to wait for that. But once that is done, we're going to see Thrall once again be the god that he is, which is not a god. He's going to be useless. Seems to be a recurring theme of Thrall. I would like it if he, you know, did something. He doesn't even really help us in this fight either. He's just in the way. So he's gonna be blocked. He's gonna be like, no, my elementals. And then he's gonna have a one-on-one duel with his hammer. He's gonna get slaughtered. And we can finally start the fight. Thanks, Thrall. Thanks for wasting our time. Good job. So we can pull Garrosh, and Garrosh is a 4-phase fight, I think it is. But basically you just want to DPS him down. There's nothing really too crazy going on. You can move out of the melee weapon swirl if you want to. It's going to do pretty low damage. You can AoE down the ads that spawn and just DPS for Garrosh. Nothing too crazy. And then eventually we're going to move to this room. You want to kill all of the ads that are there. You can pick up one of the globes as well if you want. It will make you take reduced damage, but it isn't really necessary. Just make sure you do kill off all the ads, and then start beating on Garrosh. Move out of his frontal slam as it does hurt a little, so you don't really want to be taking damage from that. And just keep DPSing him down until he transitions. And you can get quite a lot of damage done to him there. And then once he's dead again, he's going to move into phase 3. He's going to look beautiful, and it'll literally just be another rinse and repeat. You're going to have ads that'll spawn that you can kill. You're going to have a hammer that you can DPS, and you can move out of it if you want, but it doesn't really matter. It does such little damage anyway. And you should really DPS him down before anything major happens. And then we're going to move into phase 4. Once again, same deal. You're going to be able to kill him before anything real happens. But Malice on you don't need to worry about it. And then he's going to die. So there you go. And this character's like 8 something at the time, so it shows how real easy this is. I kill him before any mechanics happen, and you should be able to. But even if the mechanics do happen, the only real scary ones are like the mind controls and stuff, but those should be dealt with before anything happens. So yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Look out for more videos coming soon. Hopefully you will lucky with them out, and if not, then try again next week. See ya.